Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast. Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guests are Katherine Zabloudil and Morgaine McGee. Katherine Zabloudil is co-founder of the Vertical Collective, a manufacturing firm that specializes in product design and accelerated development with brands and retailers of all kinds. Established in 2015 with partner Morgaine McGee, their mission is to create high-end products by intersecting their expertise in fashion and business. With 17 years of experience as a leader in the apparel industry, Katherine has developed strategic alliances with key designers across platforms, international distribution networks, and global sourcing partners. Morgaine McGee is co-founder of the Vertical Collective, a manufacturing firm that specializes in product design and accelerated development, working with brands and retailers of all industries. Through her passion and history in sourcing, she has cultivated a strong network of designers, developers, and global partners. Well, good afternoon, Morgaine and Katherine. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having us. Kat and I are thrilled to be here.
It is so great to be here. Thank you so much.
Awesome, ladies. Thanks again. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the flexibility. I know, Kat, you're in Los Angeles and Morgaine's in Hong Kong right now. It's amazing. And I want to just jump on into these questions and learn a little bit more about you so we can share your story with my global audience. Morgaine, let's jump in about your career, working in product design, retail, manufacturing, and being really trendsetter in your space. Could you share with our audience the secret to your career growth and a little bit about your role at the Vertical Collective?
Yeah, sure. So, I think the secret for me is very simple. It's just really been hard work and being really eager. In the beginning of my career, I was just really like a sponge. I just wanted to learn and see and do everything. I always was asking to join meetings. I always asked questions just to have a full circle understanding of the entire process outside of product itself. So, marketing, sales, warehouse distribution, things that weren't necessarily my wheelhouse in the beginning. And with sort of that ambition and drive, the company I was working with at the time moved me to Hong Kong to help bridge that gap between concept and execution, particularly across the different cultures and aesthetics. So with that, I've been here 15 years overseeing product development, sourcing, and manufacturing for TVC.
And Katherine?
So I think the secret to my career growth really has been perseverance and a lot of networking. From early on in my career path, I talked to as many people as I could, as many industries and sectors as possible. It was a little bit of a long-winded path to get to this industry. And I'm the kind of person who loves to hear no. It really pushes me to drive forward and try new things and really investigate and look into things. And of course, ask a ton of questions along the way. Much like Morgaine, I love to work hard. Work is my passion. And from the very beginning, it was all about as many internships as possible, as many opportunities, really, again, just networking until I found a good fit and then taking that really big jump into it, regardless of whether, early on in your career, you can make some mistakes and try different things and really test the waters until you find the right path. So that is how I got here. And it's been incredible in terms of the journey and the experience and how much growth and how many things we're learning constantly, up until today. It's all about just pushing forward and not being afraid to ask for opportunities and go after them. And my role here at the Vertical Collective is to grow client relationships, analyze new potential sectors, and oversee financial and business operations, also partnering with Morgaine and our Hong Kong team on a daily basis in terms of all of the things that are happening from start to finish of programs development through to landed product.
Amazing. I love the story. Both of you have an interesting background that have come together and started this company is simply just outstanding. And so, Katherine, I want to jump in a little bit more. Could you tell us about your new product line or venture that you're excited about in maybe coming out in 2021?
2020 has been a complicated year for many of us, and we've muscled through it to the best of our abilities, and we've actually had a pretty exciting year. And, for the past 5 years, the focus of our company has been fashion, accessories, and home and lifestyle product. But by sheer demand this past couple of years, we've really pivoted into new categories. And of course, this year with COVID happening all throughout the world, we were asked by many, many companies and different outlets for PPE, personal protection equipment, all kinds of medical supplies, And we pushed forward into that sector really unknowingly. It wasn't part of our plan for 2020, but it has really changed the face of our business. So while we, figured that all out, got through it and got to where we are now, we've realized just with the new categories, including the PPE, it was time to really segment that part of our company and our business into its own division. So we're actually really excited to launch and announce that we are creating a new subdivision called TVC Industries. It'll be launching, it's actually already in the process of launch mode, and we're going to be releasing all of the information in the next couple of weeks. We have an entire team that's going to be running TVC Industries separately, so we can keep our mainline business, one entity, and TVC Industries will be primarily focusing on, again, personal protection equipment, medical supplies, industrial resource materials, and tactical goods. And all of these things have become a big part of our business this last couple of years, so we are very excited about this.
Amazing. Katherine, thanks for sharing that. I'm looking forward to seeing you both launch that new line. And I'm, like I said, love to share this story out to the global audience here. So Morgaine, are you looking at or leveraging any new or emerging tech within your space? Maybe it's just a cool app or tool that you find useful.
In regards to sort of tools and apps that we find very useful is day in, day out, WeChat. It's majority of our communication between our office in Asia and our factories throughout Asia. It's just so useful. It's instant communication. We can send large files. We can video chat. We can send photos. It sort of is a workaround for a lot of what we work on is sort of, Google Drives and things like that, which they don't have access to in China. So this allows us to send sort of really large files quickly directly to them. And particularly with manufacturing, it's not really an office job. People are in sample rooms, they're on production lines. So it's something quick, immediately in your hands to be able to discuss with like the SIFU in the sample room to show them exactly what we're explaining for maybe a revision to a sample. Outside of that, we as a company have been pushed into developing some new internal tools just to streamline communication between the US and Asia. It sure just helps with product details, timelines, and supply chain management, just a lot of transparency now, particularly with how 2020 has played out, just allows the whole team to be a little more well-rounded and just seeing the entire process as opposed to maybe just focusing particularly on like the client relationships, the design, the communication on the US side of things. And then for my team, more of the development and manufacturing production sort of schedules and timelines.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I know it's sometimes challenging being in a particular company outside the US to use some of the technology and the tools. And like you said, in Hong Kong, they've got some restrictions around that. So I appreciate you sharing that with our audience. And here's the last question. We want to kind of get this out and let people know who Morgaine and Katherine are. But Morgaine, could you start by sharing something from your career experience that would be helpful for those looking to grow their career in either design, retail, or leadership?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, really just say yes. Say yes to every opportunity, anything you're asked to do, no matter if it's your job, not your job. It just shows initiative, a real willingness to learn and just being a great team player. In addition to that, and I think, Katherine and I very much started our career this way as well, is like, just ask for opportunity. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people will just say, sure, you can try, because at the end of the day, they're paying you for a salary. And if you want to do something that's sort of outside of your scope of work, it's not really a risk to them. And then they might realize that you're an asset in a different division, and it regardless would make you a more well-rounded sort of employee regardless. Yeah, just do it. Just be positive and just say yes, no matter what it is.
Katherine?
I think as it relates to our industry, do what you can to learn the actual business behind making product, whether it's fashion or accessories or home goods or active wear. You don't necessarily need to be a cutting edge designer or a natural born artist to make it, but understanding the fundamentals of the working parts and segments of the business will allow you to be in the same room with some of those people quite often. And understanding really the way, not just necessarily on the financial side, but really just understanding the flow of business, the timelines, the cadence, and getting an understanding of that just from how product is made from the beginning to the end allows you to really be involved in a lot of creative decision making, a lot of process, and of course, growth of companies and product lines and categories. So even if maybe, we hear a lot of people who are like, well, I'm just not that creative, or I don't know, I can't cut paper in a straight line. It's like, well, that's okay. But can you do basic math? Do you understand the principles of maybe some accounting, some general accounting, or can you build out a calendar and follow that? Really simple understandings, but very critical to making any business work, especially in an industry where you're making product. We always say it's sometimes more important to understand the business behind it as opposed to being hyper creative.
Thanks for sharing it. Both your story, ladies, is just amazing. I like the fact that, again, you get to share that with me and I turn around and share it with a global audience. And I truly mean that. I have a large global audience I'd love to share this out with. And so, again, Morgaine and Katherine of the Vertical Collective, I just want to let you know it was a pleasure having you on today. And I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Thanks, Brian. We're thrilled to be here with you today.
Brian, we really appreciate the time and hope we can talk again soon.
Bye for now.